I was born into the label of an immigrant. Born and raised in Europe to Indian immigrant parents and having spent the last decade of my life forming family-like friendships in Chicago to New York City, all while living abroad from my family. But lately I've been searching for something deeper. I've been feeling a longing to reconnect with my family as our relationships have loosened over time. Whether that's my older brother in Germany, or if it's further away, like my cousins in India. The reconnection has proven difficult, especially at a distance when visits happen only once every few years. Hi, I'm Harsha Pillai, and over the past year, I've used my thesis, Lost in Translation, as a mirror to better understand my own relationships. And today I'm sharing 4 design offerings that explore how we express care and stay connected across emotional and physical distances. I engage with a wide range of experts, from linguists to therapists and caregivers, and importantly, other Asian immigrants. I also led a participatory research workshop called Branching Out, held both online and in person. 10 participants with 10 unique immigrant backgrounds reflected on their relationships with friends and families have evolved over time. Through activities like mapping and collaging emerged themes of grief and guilt. Grief for what was lost, and guilt for what couldn't be maintained. One participant shared, "I have no relationship with my grandparents, and watching them age is incredibly painful." Another vulnerably added, "I'm simply not Vietnamese enough to understand my own mother." These reflections reminded me of The Grief Tower by Lauren Wells, which describes 2 layers of immigrant loss. First, the obvious, moving to a new country, growing apart from family. But behind these are hidden losses. The loss of being known, a loss of shared language, whether it's cultural or behavioral or linguistic. These quiet, cumulative griefs often surface later, especially as we try to build our adult relationships while still holding on to unspoken sorrow. This framework guided the development of my design response, which focused on 4 themes: grief, memory, presence, and empathy. Early on in my research, Dr. Rachel Kaysen informed me, by acknowledging your guilt and griefs, you begin to see where you want growth. This led me to study anticipatory grief, a form of sorrow felt before a loss has occurred. It's a quiet anxiety many immigrants carry, the ache of relationships changing, slipping away, or never becoming what we had hoped. This sparked a question: how might we create space for grief to be expressed, shared, and transformed through collective ritual? To answer this, I designed a living graveyard, a participatory experience that ritualizes personalized grief by transforming it into growth through planting. It provides a physical space for what often feels intangible. The project exists in 3 forms: a DIY kit for individuals, a pop-up installation at Brooklyn Bridge Park, and a semi-permanent garden installation at Poplar Street Community Garden. The living graveyard centers on 4 themes, each embodied through a symbolic tombstone planter: release, for when you're ready to let go to make space for new growth; visibility, the grief from feeling unseen or unrecognized; closure, for saying what was left unsaid; and yearning, holding on to the hopes for the future. These 4 tombstones become markers of our past, present, and future lives. These tombstones are paired with an informational pamphlet to guide the user through this experience. In collaboration with Poplar Street Community Garden, I invited the public to participate in planning their griefs. Let's take a look and see how it works. After the experience, one of the participants reflected, "It felt comforting to grow something beautiful out of something so painful. It's rare to be given the space to sit with the harder parts of life and not feel so alone." Griefs shared spanned lost relationships, places left behind, and life transitions. Many participants noted the relief that came from simply acknowledging these emotions out loud. Public grieving, and taking pride in it, can be a powerful act. Though we all experience these feelings, we often keep them hidden behind a private facade. It reminded me of a quote from advocate Pradeep Rajendran: "When you leave, you lose the village, but the village also loses you." Acknowledging the hope to rebuild what was lost on both ends. This reminder sparked my next question: how might we assist physically distant relatives create and share memories in ways that feel intimate and lasting? So we moved from the public realm to extended family, and this led to WISPs. WISPs helps long-distance families preserve shared stories by creating archives of meaningful objects. Think heirloom meets adventure. For example, take cousins Sungmin and Minho. They signed up with 3 others to reconnect their group chat through shared experiences. Each month, they receive a prompt card containing a category, emotion, and task, and a pre-labeled shipping box to collect tokens from this experience. This month, Sungmin's prompt for Minho is to go on an outdoor adventure that reminds him of their childhood. He's instructed to collect 3 wisps, a stamp, a ticket, and a coin. Each should remind him of Minho. These objects, small and seemingly ordinary, carry memory. These are ephemeral objects, temporary tokens of events that are meant to last only a short time. With wisps, they become spirits of the task. As noted in the book Meaning of Things, even the most fleeting objects have the power to hold meaning and transform behavior and reflect who we are becoming. WISPs works as a rotational system. After onboarding and inputting logistics, you're randomly matched with a new family member every month. You send them a task, they send you one. You send off your WISPs, you receive theirs, and you store in your box. You receive, reflect, and reconnect month by month. Prompts are tailored, playful ones for cousins reconnecting, storytelling prompts for sharing family recipes or memories of grandparents, and special editions for holidays to create moments together even when apart. One concept testing participant shared, doing a WISPs task would make me feel like I'm carrying them with me. We invite you to move through the world with intention, looking for objects that echo love. But within Asian cultures, love is not spoken or in materials. It's shown through quiet gestures, cooking, cleaning, and showing up. It's in presence. And so I asked, how might we indicate quiet signals of presence that help distant immigrant families feel emotionally closer even without words? The focus will now shift to within nuclear families. And here I designed Anchor. Anchor is a smart keychain system that signals when someone is just home, without needing a text or a call. It's an emotional presence, signaling safety and acting as an invitation to call. Let's take Gia and her mom, for example. Though they live in different time zones, they rarely see each other, living miles apart. Want to deepen their bond through a subtle, meaningful routine, they bought Anchor. When Gia comes home, she hangs her keys, and her Anchor lights up. And miles away, so does her mom's, quietly letting her know that Gia is safe. The keychain uses a weight sensor hook that triggers the light. But we also need boundaries. Let's take another user, Rohan, who had a tough day and needs time to decompress. When he gets home, he turns the dial on his Anchor to delay the light by 15 minutes, giving himself time before being present. Anchor makes presence ambient, low effort, and emotionally resonant. Ideating smart objects for family connections reminded me that intimacy grows not through data or alerts, but through subtle, meaningful routines. But yes, Anchor also raises questions. Could this feel like surveillance? And is it designed for the parent's gaze? And that's where I return to a deeper insight. In many Asian immigrant families, care is often misaligned. What we do to show love may not be understood as such, because we grew up in such different contexts. So I asked, how might we help Asian immigrant parents and children better understand each other's lived experience across cultural and generational contexts? For this, we look within, and to do that, I introduce Connect. Connect is a digital emotional archive because immigration isn't just in paperwork, it's in a lifetime of adjustment. Upon onboarding, users identify as a child of immigrants, a parent, or both. And here's the twist, you only see content created by the other group. Let's take a look at the content first. The child's homepage would contain personalized pics based on your reading recommendation, likes, and history. It also has a social component to see what everyone else might be enjoying. Curators on this platform are able to source articles and work in partnerships with immigrant groups. Now let's take a look at a use case. Vidya and her daughter Gayatri signed up for Connect after seeing it in a school newsletter. Vidya immigrated from India. Gayatri has never been. Lately, their cultural differences have caused more friction and arguments. Gayatri's homepage will show her work, such as this one called First Days by South Asian American Digital Archive, highlighting verbal and spoken stories of new immigrants. Her mom's page will highlight work like this poem, written by another daughter for the words that she couldn't say to her dad. Other examples could be books by immigrant writers and reflective essays. And this, of course, remains true for the social components as well. Testing participants appreciated this reversal, commenting on the wit to flip the script. But I didn't want to stop at curation. I wanted this archive to live. So I asked, how might we translate culturally rooted expressions of care into everyday digital communication between Asian immigrant parents and their children. This led me to build and train a private GPT model, specifically curated with diasporic family content. I curated 300 to 400 articles of work, including scientific papers that were public, to art and poems and literature. I mocked up Connect as an AI tool with my own text messages, and that testing helped shape Connect's keyboard plugin. Users can download and access this alongside the global languages on their keyboard. Once you're in suggestions mode, users are able to have Connect be a communication facilitator. Let's say your mom texts you something that sounds harsh. Connect doesn't rewrite it, but it offers gentle insight. This might be how she shows care, a reminder of the care misalignment, but also reassurance for a child receiving this message. It also offers you soft guidance in responding, not to correct your words, but to empower emotional nuance and assist you in responding ways that feel honest to you, but still comfortable enough to send. And because not all care is spoken, Connect uses metadata. Say you watched it appears last night and had a reflective moment. Connect urges you to share these small moments with your loved ones as a reminder to show your life apart. Connect isn't about teaching people how to love. It's about gently facilitating between worlds. Testing participants said it helped them reframe conversations and feel more open to replying after tense exchanges. At the start of my research, I read this quote: "Grief is just love with nowhere to go." But through design, I believe that we can give that love direction. And over the past year, I've reconnected with my parents, sending more photos, lingering on calls, and sharing my work without even knowing how they'd respond. This body of work is a love letter to immigrant families and the emotional weight of building a new home. It asks, what if we design connection with tenderness, cultural nuance, and the courage to begin again? These questions take time, and I hope this is a starting point for me, for others like me, and for the long overdue generational conversations. I want to thank everyone who's made this work possible, for supporting me emotionally, for guiding and challenging my design process, to the research and immigrant community and the members who shared their stories so openly, and to those watching from afar simply for being present. Thank you.
I noticed in your interface at the end that your mom used a period at the end of the sentence and you didn't. I have been helped by our daughter to know not to use punctuation at the end of the sentence or I'm yelling at.
Yeah.
So
No punctuation, also always lower caps.
yeah. That I was on to, I think. A lovely presentation, so personal. I know that ethics played a part in actually several of the products and services and experiences, but obviously particularly in AI. Just also want to go on record, like we welcome AI with some rigor and cynicism, but we've gone 4 projects in before AI was mentioned today. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I've had like a weird relationship with AI since I studied computer science as well, and I think I knew that back then I was very cynical about AI, and this was back in 2016. And I knew when I went to design school that I wanted to learn how to use AI ethically and carefully within it. Quite honestly, there were many failed projects before Connect came along, and I think that was a lot of learnings of how AI can like build trust or hurt users and how you need to train a model. When I learned how to train a model, I also had to learn how to like tone it and how it should speak to users. There's a lot of careful curation, and it was a pretty long process to learn how to really work with it, but honestly very rewarding, and I'm very happy where I landed.
Yeah. Are you convinced that this makes a lot of sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's obviously more testing to do, and I would love to get more users to get on this and
Sure.
hear from them.
I loved at the end, again, there was an interpretation of like, what does your mom mean? Uh, versus just conditioning and training you. I know that a lot of the dating apps are using, game, right? Sort of, helping you have game, but they're really about sort of how you're interacting or how you're presenting yourself versus understanding how someone is presenting themselves to you. Thought that was lovely. The other thing that I wanted to underline was the quiet signals of presence. I think that that's something that we can all take away from today and beautifully handled.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Harsha.
Thank you.